This is a diorama of a train crashing through a house, and it's made from garbage.
Horrors! Cried Thomas.
I'm Geoh, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So not too long ago, I got this limited edition wooden Thomas model and stand. It's based on the episode Thomas Comes to Breakfast, in which Thomas crashes headfirst into a house while a family eats breakfast.
Just look what you've done to our breakfast.
Classic. Although the train itself was loaded with detail, including having literal egg on his face, I thought it would be cooler to have a display of Thomas actually crashing through the house rather than the flat depiction of the original. So, let's make it. It all started with a small piece of cardboard. After covering the edges with masking tape, a piece of foam board was cut to act as the wall. With a crash hole added, that was the perfect size to fit a Thomas. The house in the show is a plaster wall, so I decided to really differentiate the front and back sides of the diorama. I'd make the exterior brick. To emulate it, a dull pencil crayon was used to depress the foam and add mortar lines. I glued it on and it was already taking shape. The edges of the foam wall were lined with coffee stir sticks to protect it, and I moved to water puttying. Water putty is a powder that when mixed with water makes this really thick substance that when dried is super strong. Think of it like a mega wood filler that you can also fix your house with. I learnt about this stuff from Master of the Lemons, and if you're a channel veteran, you might remember seeing me use it on stream. I thought it would be interesting to use it for the lawn which Thomas plows through and to fill the interior wall. Applying it was pretty smooth. I used a knockoff Oliver to make the tracks through it, and if you want to see what happened to him, I made a whole video on his makeover, and I made sure to pretend I was Studson Studios, so I stippled that goop to sell the fact that this was uneven grass. While puttying the wall, more coffee stir sticks that I snapped to intentionally have jagged edges were added under the putty to act as wooden frames of the house that had just been snapped thanks to the crash. A nice little detail that I'm really glad I added. Once the putty dried, the wall was sanded down to be more flat. After that, I added even more coffee stir sticks, this time to the base of the brick side of the house, and then it was time for paint. The stir sticks and the mortar lines were painted a dark gray, the bricks white, and the lawn was done with a brown base and a couple passes of different shades of green for the grass. I was really impressed with the final result. With the lawn looking so good for my standards, I needed to sell the fact that the other side was a house, so I laid down some popsicle stick flooring. I lightly dry brushed them a caramel color, and with a craft knife etched markings where Thomas's wheels would have hit the floor and stopped. Considering a steam engine also just crashed through the wall, I weathered the floor with gray paint to act as soot. Thomas crashes this family's breakfast, so I needed to make a little table that was smashed down the middle. I used a jumbo popsicle stick that I cut down and snapped the edges off of, and then made the legs using meat skewers. It was painted in a light brown color and then glued to the base with just a slight angle to imply a crash took place. And of course, is accented by the ever-important bush.
Thomas had collected a bush on his travels.
Speaking of bushes, some foliage was added to the front of the house using dollar store moss and secured down with craft glue. It was down to the final details now. Since Thomas had a window frame on him, I felt glass shards would definitely be a useful inclusion. Just not in his face. I took a plastic lid from a cake, sanded it down, and cut out random pieces with my craft knife, and glued it to various places on the display. Last but certainly not least, I grabbed some leftover foam, cut some bricks out to the same size as the one on the wall, and after weathering them, sprinkled a few around the diorama. So with some final paint touch-ups, it was done. And I think it's time for a reveal.
The next morning, the firelighter came. Thomas drowsed comfortably as the warmth spread through his boiler. Percy and Toby were still asleep. Thomas suddenly remembered.
Silly stick in the mud.
He chuckled.
I'll show them. Driver said I could manage without him. I'll just go out. Then I'll stop and wheesh. That'll make them jump.
Thomas thought he was being clever, but really he was only moving because a careless cleaner had meddled with his controls. He soon found his mistake. He tried to wheesh, but he couldn't. He tried to stop, but he couldn't. He just kept rolling along. There was the station master's house. The station master was about to have breakfast.
Breakfast! Horrors!
Cried Thomas and shut his eye. The house rocked, broken glass tinkled, plaster was everywhere. Thomas had collected a bush on his travels. He peered into the room through its leaves. He couldn't speak.
Thomas felt depressed. The station master was furious. "You miserable engine," she scolded. "Just look what you've done to our breakfast."
Now I shall have to cook some more. Yes, Thomas, diesels always stay in their sheds till they are wanted. Diesels never gallivant off to breakfast in station masters' houses.
And that's how I made probably one of my favorite dioramas, and I'm really happy how it turned out. I think my favorite part of the diorama is the public reaction to it. Despite most people not being aware of the episode this is based on, everyone seems to really enjoy seeing a train busting through a wall. And I definitely have to agree. Now, I do want to make a few more of these, so let me know down in the comments below what scene from an episode you'd like to see as a little diorama like this one. I really want to do one from Percy's Chocolate Crunch or the bridge scene from The Great Discovery. But if you've made it this far, let me know what you think of this diorama in the comments below. And if you had enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing as it really helps me out. And if you want to go one step further, check out my Linktree where you can follow my Instagram and Ko-Fi. You may notice gaps in uploading here just because how long these videos take to make and edit, so your support through those channels really helps me out. And if the infrequent uploading is leaving you wanting more, check out my second channel simply titled Geoh 2, where you can find videos of me making bad financial decisions on toys. Who doesn't want to see that? But to end off, I've been Geoh, thanks for watching, don't crash into station masters' houses, and I'll see you next time.
Thomas was in disgrace. There was worse to come. You're in a lot of trouble, Thomas.
"I know, sir. I'm sorry, sir."
Thomas's voice was muffled behind his bush. You must go to the works and have your front mended. It will be a long job.
"Yes, sir."
Meanwhile, a diesel rail car will do your work.
Diesel, sir?"
Thomas spluttered. Yes, Thomas, diesels always stay in their sheds till they are wanted. Boko,